Okay, let's go another step further. So now we're going to be doing, we went over the near side frame, we're going to go over the far side frame. So when we say near side frame, we mean the side that our arm is in the triangle. So in this case, my right arm. Far side frame is when we're over here. Right? We can argue about the terminology. You could argue that one's near side, but it doesn't matter. We're calling this the far side frame. So my elbow is going to go directly against the hip. When I'm framing on this side, I'm placing my hand on my partner's ribs and I'm placing my elbow on the ground to create kind of a triangle shape. In this case, either because my partner controlled my arm, or let's say I got myself here, but I couldn't quite, I just let go of the but I couldn't quite make a good enough frame here, and I feel that my elbow's being compromised, I'm gonna shoot my arm across. Anytime any kind of internal rotation is happening here, don't fight it. The more you beat your partner to this hip, the better off you are. If he's controlling me and he pulls my arm across and he just keeps my elbow off the mat, I can't really do anything. So if Rory's got 2-on-1 control, I won't try to bring my arm here. I'll actually be fighting his control and then try to place my arm on this side. It's imperative that we not go to this side while our partner is in full control, because you're just going into a very deep triangle. So either he pulled my arm across and I broke this, or he just pushed my elbow across and I got to here, or I recognize that shit's going sideways on me and I dive myself over here. I'm gonna connect my hands now. You can grab the gi material, or ideally, if you're able to, you will hook your thumb inside here and pry your partner's knee to the ground. But just be aware that this won't always be possible. So as long as I'm protecting my arm here, because grab a key lock, this shit can happen to you real fast. Protect the end of the lever by grabbing at the wrist. If I grab my hand, just hook under and just start to pry apart. Yeah, if I grab at the wrist alone, you can still be wrist locked, the lever can be accessed. So I want to get into this space here. So I'm protecting the ulnar bone and I'm also protecting my hand. So now you go to grab and I'm covering, using my forearm, I'm covering my fist a little bit. It should feel really strong. Elbow stays projecting into the hip. You notice how I'm driving down off my knees. All right, so if I stay on my knees, I'm pushing with my torso a little bit. Once I come up off my knees, I'm driving with my legs, and I'm projecting my shoulder, my left shoulder, through his calf. Now immediately my hand comes in, and I start backing out of the triangle, just like we always do. Move down a little bit. Just change the angle here, just so people can see the footwork. So I ended up in the triangle. It's starting to get a bit deeper. As long as I have control, ease up on it, dude, I'm gonna pass out. Ah, there we go. As long as I've got access to this, if my partner's controlling this, I'm not trying to go to this side. I have to break the grip, drive, I have access. Knees come up pretty much right away. Drive, drive, drive. As long as I'm anchoring that elbow into the mat and his hip can't move, my shoulder will break this lever open. I'll bring my hand in right away. I can come back to my knees now. I don't need this anymore. Once the guard is open, now I just want to be a little bit more stable, because he's still going to try to take my arm. He's going to still try to recover and armbar me, so I need to be prying this open, accessing the lever to his hip, and pulling my elbow out. Ideally, the moment I feel this break, so if I get myself here and I'm able to, especially if I'm able to anchor like this, which is even better, so the moment I feel this break, I hide this elbow, I hide both the elbows. So I bring this elbow inside, and I'm getting back to that tape frame, and then I'm getting back into my passing. So that's gonna be how you're gonna use your far side frame. Terminology is actually kind of confusing. I'll probably try to come up with better terminology in the future. Near side frame, far side frame. Use this one first, move to this one. Make sure you're immediately driving up off of your knees, creating a tripod and pushing your shoulder through your partner's calf. We are not pushing into the bend of the knee. This is really critical. If we go back in for a second, I'm not driving my shoulder into the ground, into the pit of his knee. I'm creating a frame and I'm driving my shoulder this way through the center of his calf.
Pressure right here.
Yeah, this is exactly, if you don't feel the pressure around the calf near your Achilles tendon, you're doing it wrong. There is an opportunity when we do this for Rory to take my back. Be aware of that, right? If he comes through and he makes this motorcycle grip, he's immediately gonna be on my back. I'll be honest, to a certain degree, there's not a ton we can do about that at this point, but just as long as we're aware of it, we hopefully can react in time. So if I feel this break open, as he goes to move his hips, if I just square up with his hips, bring my elbow out, I should be okay. But if my pressure stays this way and his hips disconnect, he's gonna have a shot at my back. If we prevent the motorcycle grip, it'll not be a great shot, but it'll, like I said, it'll always be there. We can't remove the opportunity. You can just be aware the opportunity exists and try to respond in time. And this is gonna be how you get it. Like the defensive aspect of this, and when I say the defensive, I mean not the escape aspect, the preventing the triangle from finishing you is the one that you really need to work on at first. Like people kind of rush. So let's just do a little bit on strategy here. People try to rush, they get here, they get down here, and they're like trying to get out. It's like, as long as I'm not getting choked, I'm cool, right? He pulls my head down, not a whole lot happens. I might sink my head into his bicep. Let's just turn a little bit. What I'm really trying to do is keep this side of the arteries or this side of my neck open. So as he tries to break my posture, I just drive. As long as I'm driving, and now I start projecting my shoulder. And then when that breaks, I'm backing out right away. So as long as I can hang out in this space, I really recommend that you hang out here. We've actually had quite a bit of success with this in competition with kind of more beginner students who have a tendency to get triangled, and we just teach them this like relatively late stage defense, and they've been able to hang out in fully applied triangles for the entirety of a match. And often, break out and then continue and win the match. But even when they don't win the match, nothing happens. They don't get triangled, and like the worst thing that happens is you lose a jiu-jitsu match at like white or blue belt. God, you've got a great life. So don't worry about it. Worst thing would be if you ever got like triangled in a situation where your life was on the line and you weren't able to defend yourself. So let's just make sure that you understand, what's a high and a low in your life. Don't worry about losing jiu-jitsu matches. If you can keep that elbow down and prevent the triangle from working kind of no matter what the other person does, then you're well on your way. And then once you're stable and comfortable inside that position, then worry about trying to get yourself out of it. Do not rush escapes. If you can possibly stay comfortable and safe, stay comfortable and safe, and then make your partner take a risk to adjust the position, because you're gonna escape a lot easier when people relinquish a little bit of pressure to make adjustments. And like the deeper you go into this stuff, the more you're gonna kind of recognize, when do I need to rush, when do I not need to rush, especially at the beginning. As long as you're not being actually choked, as long as the artery is open, don't rush, figure out your alignment, break your opponent's alignment, and then get yourself out.